Hello and welcome to Pals Pulls, the Comics Pals weekly show where we talk about everybody's favorite thing, comics.
And the points don't matter.
That is also true. Well, they might matter if we're talking about the stack a little later on.
Oh, great
We've
point.
got a full stack of pals today. We've got Cale,
Oh, what's up, hot dogs?
Marco,
Hello, hamburgers.
Tyler,
Hi guys. What
Bonjour
what's good
burritos.
tacos?
It was right there.
What's
Like,
good tacos?
hey, that's a good one.
and I'm Sean. Thank you for being here, whether you are live or in the future. We have got
Howdy.
six of this week's biggest comic book releases on tap for today. We have Superman number 18. We've got Absolute Power Super Sun number 1. World's Finest number 31. X-Men number 4. The Power Fantasy number 2. And The Moon is Following Us number 1. I don't have a copy of that. And we will talk about why later on.
Oh boy!
Okay.
All right, he's not a violent guy.
The mood, yeah.
I might be. I might have to be. Before we get started, I want to make sure that I let everybody know that the book club poll has closed and we have results. We have a winner. The winner is Dark Side War. The reason why I'm telling you now is because I know that not everybody watches the whole show, and I want to make sure that we all know this because Tuesday is D-Day. Tuesday, the 24th of September, is Dark Side War Day. That is when our new 52 book club will take place. So show up here on the channel at 6 p.m. Eastern to listen to us talk about Dark Side War by Jeff Johns, Jason Fabok, and a whole bunch of other people.
Let's go.
It's my first time reading it.
Same.
Is it?
Yeah.
Might be mine.
Yeah.
I can't remember if I've read it or not.
Okay. That'll be interesting then. I kind of assumed at least you two would come in with a read under your belt.
I may have grazed it, but boy, I don't remember.
All right. Well, something I'm pretty sure we all read is Superman number 18. At least I hope we did.
Joke's on you. No, just kidding.
Didn't do the homework.
This is written by Joshua Williamson with art by Jamal Campbell. Ariana Mayer on the letters. I assume Campbell does his own colors. So this issue is really just Superman and Zatanna trying to figure out who the hell is going to help them out. What are they going to do about this? They go on a weird journey through the dark roads. Meanwhile, we have Superwoman, aka Lois Lane, and her little crew of Lex Luthor and Mercy. They're finding out that the Fortress of Solitude has been destroyed, and all that kind of jazz. What'd you guys think of the issue?
I mean, it's a little hard to complain about a Jamal Campbell book, I gotta say. There is just something about Campbell's art that just does it for me. Like even Naomi, which I wasn't the hottest on that book, but I was good. I like the art. What is it? The Green Lantern book. Why am I blanking?
I've blanked.
The Young Animals.
Whatever it is.
Yeah,
Whatever
the Young
it is.
Animals one. With Joe Mullen. Fantastic on
Far
that.
Sector.
Far Sector. I was thinking Fear Sector. But Far Sector. Yeah, and then this kind of continues that for me. There is a double page spread in this that was just like, hell yeah. The Chutes and Ladders looking page where Superman and Zatanna are kind of walking through this really like gross dark magic. I can't even say it's a hallway. It's almost like a that infinite staircase image, if you've ever seen that. And it's just them sequentially going through it, and they're moving and there's movement, but they're also talking to each other and they're kind of getting to learn about each other, because I feel like these two, at least since I've read DC, have never really directly interacted one-on-one too often. So it is cool to kind of see Zatanna and Clark kind of just get to know each other a bit. It's like it felt like coworkers who were assigned a task together for the first time, and like had to like kill the time a bit and talk about themselves. And I enjoyed that. I enjoyed this issue a lot.
That's a good way to put that. I yeah, similarly, I think being able to pair these two otherwise different characters who wouldn't intersect, uh, that's fun. I I found some of Zatanna's uh narration to be a little different for the character. There were definitely moments where the darkness was taking hold and she wasn't sure of herself, and maybe that was just an effect of the map sort of sucking her life force. But there was definitely something there between the two of them that didn't always mesh well for me. Just knowing Zatanna's character a bit more, and so uh, I think from that end, the the other thing with going on this trip with Zatanna and with Clark was it just kind of meandered a bit. Like we explore this world. We're just so we can get back to Lois, and I felt like that didn't do a lot the for the event itself, especially if this is a tie-in here. Like I felt like we just got this singular story. Great. How does this sort of ladder up? Now the team's together. Okay, fine. Maybe that'll uh, pay out towards the end when we get back into the next issue of Absolute Power. But otherwise, yeah, it felt like a side story, and I was a little frustrated by that. And I thought we'd get a little more Neuron because he got teased at the end, and then he's just like, "Lie to me. Here's a map." It's like, okay.
That was actually kind of my biggest problem with this whole thing. Is it feels like there's a big buildup to get this map, and the object of getting the map is that Superman has to betray himself. He has to make this big character moment, and then I don't know, maybe you guys will have to explain it to me, but then doesn't.
He does.
He does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he says he does, which
Well,
I guess is enough. But
That's
but like my point is like that could have been the story.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
you know what I
yeah.
mean? Like meeting
Actually,
Neuron in page 5 of issue 1 of this could have been could have given us 2 more issues of this this cool moment of Superman having this conflict and then figuring it out.
I liked the whole him tricking Neron immediately. Like Neron's kind of a doofus.
Mm,
Is he?
Well, because Superman lied by saying that he would lie,
right.
so it's cyclical. He did it already. That was the thing he had to do. So he's already fulfilled the contract. And I feel like Neron's whole thing is that he constantly gets screwed over. Like he was in Nightwing in Tom Taylor's Nightwing recently, and that he always just has beef with people and nothing ever comes of it. And so I kind of like that. Like Neron was kind of a chump here too.
What's up, Philosopher King? Good to see you. Year of the Collector, how you doing? Amin Perez, always here with us. Thank you for that. Cole, what's up, Cole? Chop Harder Alchemist, good to see you.
Yo.
Phenomenal AC says, good evening, everyone. Make sure to smash that like button. I completely agree. Those are just the names I can see right now. Thanks to everybody for being here with us. We really appreciate you guys. Yeah, I thought this was cool. I really like Joshua Williamson's style for this book. There's nothing revelatory, but I just think the script is good. And I liked seeing Zatanna and Superman on their merry little adventure. I like a lot how Zatanna was desperate to get through this and how, for her, this isn't a game. Clark gets his powers back. He's Superman. He's the world's greatest hero. he's unbeatable. Um, she says, I barely have friends, and the closest I have to a relationship is a chain smoking Brit who sold his soul to not one, but three demons. You might have a life outside of your costume, but Waller didn't just take my power, she took my life. I think that, Zatanna's a bit player, but that line of dialogue did more for me with the character than almost anything I've ever read from her before because it establishes how meaningful magic is to her. This is how she provides for herself. This is how she has relevance. This is all she has. And I really like that Williamson keyed in on that. That's super important. You have to deliver those kinds of moments. So if nothing else happened in the book, I would like it just off that. But I enjoyed their romp through the dark roads. We do learn that the multiverse is cut off. That's why they can't seek out allies from outside this universe, which I kind of thought we already knew, but we understand that Waller has covered her bases. All in all, yeah, I thought this was really solid. I mean, I can't tell you how little I care about the other side of the story. The Superwoman, Lex, and
Oh yeah.
Mercy stuff is irrelevant, but it also only took up a small handful of pages, so I'm not going to bitch about it.
That part felt like, all right, we need to also progress the Superman solo book story going on at the same time, which it's like, all right, necessary evil, I guess.
Yeah.
It's interesting that that line for you, Sean, did something because that was where my eyes like kind of rolled because she has like she does have friends. I don't know to what degree the continuity is stuck around, but a lot of Golden Age characters, Hawkgirl, Adam, Green Lantern, like there's a circle there amongst that era of heroes. So her to be like, oh, I don't have any friends. Oh my god, like magic. Yes, it is important to her. Um, in the same way that her career as a stage magician might be. So it didn't mesh, but I'm glad that it worked for you. It didn't feel uh, for me too true to the character.
Do you have a lot of experience with Zatanna to know that?
I mean, outside of the stuff that she pops up in Constantine and some of the Vertigo like other Vertigo titles, that continuity hasn't maybe stuck. So
Justice League Dark.
Justice League Dark as well, yeah. So
I mean,
uh,
she said she's with Constantine, so I got to assume it's still stuck continuity wise.
to some degree, yeah, yeah.
I also think you could take that character line as a little meta too. Like Zatanna is nowhere, but
Sure.
everyone talks about her all the time. But if she's not there to hear it, like, how does she know she has any friends?
And I would also argue that having allies in superheroics isn't the same as having friends. And she says, I barely, not I have none. So I really don't think there was anything wrong with that line.
Which
She's saying she has an empty life outside of magic.
which is where I think the coworkers thing I mentioned kind of fits in as well.
Sure.
And the Jamal Campbell art, man, whoa, this dude is on another level. I feel like there was some critique of his work last time. Man, I just can't get over the way he draws his Superman.
If there's one, if I'm gonna nitpick here, and I said how much I like Jamal Campbell's art, but I'm gonna do one little nitpick. The lighting is always like there's a really bright light source everywhere,
Yeah.
or at least in every panel.
Yeah.
So everyone has to be lit from an angle. Like I know that yes, that is how things work, but in the way the art looks, it almost feels a little too much in the way the shots are lit.
It's like when like Alex Ross has an image. There's
Sure.
somewhere that there's a light source somewhere, right?
It's like covery, if that makes sense, rather than
yeah,
for interiors. Yeah.
and that was going to be my only nitpick. But otherwise, the form is great. He has the shape. There's even that reference when Superman's shadow comes up and you can see his outline, and Lois is like, "Wait, I'd recognize that anywhere." It's like, yeah, because he has a good sense of what the characters look like, even from a form perspective. It's very much just the coloring and the contrast that he's throwing in there that doesn't do it.
Okay. Cool.
before we get to the poll, what do we think about the multiversal part of things in this? Like the House of the Heroes being destroyed off the main story, the Absolute Power story. That feels like a big thing. And like we also don't even see it in this. We see the aftermath of it. So there's a bit of telling and not showing for something that feels kind of like a big deal.
I feel like that might be something more for the main event.
Okay.
Just in the importance of it. Just because, yeah, I think you're right. Like it is something we're supposed to grasp onto, but I think the discovery of Dr. Light and then the evil I don't know who is it, Joker Sinestro composite or whatever.
Confusion.
Yeah. I sort of feels like takes the heat away. So I wonder if we'll see that in Absolute 4. And maybe that's where the dark side of it all will also come in.
I'm just starting to worry that 4 is the final issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
That there's a lot of stuff that's been seeded in a lot of these side stories that we haven't seen in the main Absolute Power story. That I feel like it's going to have a lot of work to do.
Well, they'll breeze past it the way they have in
Okay.
all the
All right,
others.
cool. All right.
It'll be mentioned in one line of dialogue.
But otherwise it's a pull for me. Yeah.
I'm gonna pass. I this issue kind of made this whole this tie-in a bit of a dud for me. So I'm this didn't do much for me, and I don't particularly care for where it ended.
Yeah, same. Would also pass. Same, the exact reason, Cale. I feel like it didn't amount to much. Good story, but
Cool. So I already told you guys that the book club is on Tuesday. Dark Side War. Make sure you guys are ready for that. We're going to be talking a lot about that this Tuesday. This Saturday, though, is part 3 of our New 52 deep dives. You're not going to want to miss out on that. 10:15 a.m. Eastern. Whew, this one's going to be a doozy. I've been working diligently on this edition, and I am very excited to share with you guys a lot of the just a lot of the stuff that we haven't been able to get to throughout this deep dive. It's crazy. It's crazy.
Well, this would be the Jeff Johns of it all.
It depends. I still haven't made my mind up on what if I want to include that or not.
Oh, okay.
In this edition. So we'll see.
You did say on Discord this is the WTF episode coming up.
Yes.
Oh,
And
yeah,
if
okay.
you've
All right.
anyone's listened to the previous 2, there's already been WTF moments.
Yeah.
So if the whole episode is that, oh boy.
In for a shocker.
See what the chat is saying about Superman. Hey, Gavin. Gavin Guidry's here. How you doing, Gavin? Good to see you. Year of the Collector says the JSA are being treated like they're not in the universe.
Feel like they've been in a bit of a holding pattern in the Johns book.
Yeah.
And maybe now that that's done, I think the last one came out a week or 2 ago. We can progress a little bit because they're I know I won't spoil that yet, I guess. We do see them at a certain point. So I think we will get more traction there with the JSA.
Yeah, it does feel like they were spearheaded by Jeff Johns and then I don't want to say dropped because I don't know what happened there, but dropped in a sense that
Well,
now the rest of the line could be like, all right, now we can figure out what to do with them because this guy isn't.
Ghost Machine happened. That's
Sure, yeah, and you
Yeah.
got more money elsewhere. Yeah, I get it.
got busy.
Amin says, I find it extremely hard for the House of Heroes to be destroyed off panel by Amanda Waller.
Yeah.
Well, a lot of things are happening off panel during this event. So,
Yeah, Year of the Collector says, I would bet in reference to this, he says we should see it in Task Force 7 next issue.
I have the newest issue, which I think came out this week as well, or last week, I forget. So maybe it's in there. A lot of stuff has been happening in that Task Force 7 book.
That makes sense. It's so closely tied to her.
Top Harder Alchemist says, oh, yes, Sean Ken Burns Soapbox Deep Dive Round 3. I am no Ken Burns, but I appreciate the comparison anyway. Thank you very much. All right, let's jump into Super Sun #1. This is by a lot of people. A lot of people had a hand in the creation of this issue. We've got Sina Grace and Nicole Maines as the writers, John Timms and Travis Mercer on the art, Hi-Fi, Adriano Lucas, Pete Pantazis, and Rex Locus on the colors, Dave Sharp, all on his lonesome, handling the lettering work. This issue sees John Kent going through some shit. He is being they're trying to basically exorcise the demon virus, if you will, that is the Brainiac Queen, who has infected his body. They're trying to get all that gunk out of him. And as that's happening, he's having some kind of, I don't know if it's hallucination, whatever it is, it's all going on inside his mind. And we get some flashbacks and stuff like that. What do you guys think of this one?
Well, first off, some of those names you named on the creative team sound like they can be DC characters. Rex Locus, well, that's a great name. But I think I like this one, even though there's been capital D discourse on Twitter about this issue. This one's kind of been all over the place. This kind of feels like a epilogue to this era of John Kent in a way. He doesn't have a current active title, I believe. There was the one drawn by Tim's. Sean, what's his first name?
I don't know.
Yeah, well, the one
artist.
The one who drew this one,
John Timms.
John Timms. Yeah. So I know there was a previous series that had Sleeper kind of join the supporting cast and deals with Jay. Is Jay Nakayama is his boyfriend, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And the whole discourse around this being like, oh, why can't there be happy same-sex relationships in comics? But there's not any in hetero relationships either. But the one I like about this is because I liked how real this felt. There are some things in here. I think the bit where Jay, where John essentially tells Jay that Sleeper's dead. Spoiler for Absolute Power 2. Dreamer. Who's Sleeper? I don't know. But Dreamer's dead. Comes in a place that feels kind of realistic. Dreamer was the one that was kind of in Task Force 7. Amanda Waller pulling strings led to Dreamer killing Jay's mom. I'm not sure Dreamer did it directly, but the cause of it was because of Dreamer. And Jay straight up said, good. That's felt real to me. Is it fucked up? Yes, it is. But I enjoyed that. That was the most real the characters felt in a while for me. And I don't know if Sina Grace has been writing these two previous to this. I haven't seen Sina Grace's name in a while, honestly. I haven't seen him since Iceman. But that was oh wow, that was one of the more realistic relationship moments. And then what I liked was that they kind of talked it through instead of it being super dramatized. They're allowed to just be reactive, which I feel like we don't get too much of, especially with relationship comics. So I enjoyed this. I thought this was pretty interesting.
I want to care about John Kent. I really do. Man, I just don't. Um, I just I found it difficult to connect with John here. And I haven't read a ton of, his title and then some of the stuff that, has come out of Superman and, the main Superman stuff. This character is just not interesting to me. And that he gets infected by the Brainiac Queen and then just gets over it through his dreams or whatever. It's just sort of another thing of like, another sign for me of just like, well, he's, none of this is important because he just breezes by it. I found I like Jay's reaction to the Dreamer news. That actually affected me more than anything else in this story. His reaction of good really surprised me. But after that, it was nothing. I found the dreamscape of whatever action happened here. I found it difficult to follow because I couldn't, and this is probably part of the whole thing, but I couldn't tell what was a dream and what wasn't. I felt like I couldn't tell reality from what was being shown in John's head. It just, there wasn't enough of a difference between them for me as a reader to go, okay, got it, I know where we are.
There are moments where I felt like because at the beginning they're like, okay, we're trying to split out what is the memory from what is real from what is Brainiac Queen, so like recount these things. The thing I think that made it difficult to keep track of those was even in the presentation of some of the text. Like there were moments where you'd be in the dreamscape and then it would flip back to then, it's like the past, but then it would continue and it wouldn't signal another change. So you would have to do the sort of the work to distinguish between, or even just make a call between, okay, I think this was part of the dreamscape and this was part of the past. That was the part that's probably my biggest critique of this, was sometimes in those moments it just felt difficult to keep track of those things. And the John waking up after, again, because it flipped to now, right? So okay, so now we're back into the current time where he's being exercised, but then it bleeds into another sort of dreamscape. So yeah, that was probably the biggest frustration I had. I did like that the text boxes, like the text between him and Jay, kept happening, because that then became the thing that was grounding, and ultimately kicked him out and or helped him kick Brainiac Queen out, because that was the thing that became real. I thought that was a cute, like a good play into their dynamic, their relationship, and how they can kind of save each other, but also kept me strung along for the ride between the past, the dream sequences, and the present. So uh, I think executionally that idea needed a little bit more work.
I really enjoyed this. I have not been following a whole lot of the story with John Kent over the years, mostly because Tom Taylor's had him in a stranglehold, and I could do without that. Um, so I've seen bits of him here and there, but I'm desperate to like him. I'm desperate to get into this character. And so getting to spend a whole oversized issue, dealing with his mind and the things that he's going through and who he loves and who he doesn't, and, seeing him struggle to overcome the Brainiac Queen's control over him. I really like that. Um, I get what you guys are saying about finding it hard to know what was real and what wasn't. I tried to use as many context clues as I could. Obviously, a scene with Alfred in it means it's not really happening.
Yeah.
So there were times when I wasn't all the way clear, but I think for the most part, it's done well. Um, Touching on the stuff with John and Jay, I don't know what people want. Like, it's not that interesting if Jay says, "Oh no, Dreamer died. I know she killed my parents, but how does that affect you, John? I'm so sorry." That's fucking boring.
Right.
That's not interesting. And that goes, people don't know what they want. Everybody's going to cry on the internet about things they think they want, but this is heat. This actually has heat to it, you know? And ultimately, by the end of the book, they're on the same page.
Mm.
So I don't think that there was anything wrong with that interaction at all whatsoever. And I really like the Dreamer stuff. Nicole Maines, I don't know what the breakdown of who did what is in this issue, but Nicole Maines feels like a writer on the rise.
Yeah.
And I thought that the sequence between Dreamer and John on the rooftop was real good. I wasn't sure if I was like reading too much into it. It felt like there was something almost romantic to it.
No.
Yeah,
Definitely.
I got that vibe too.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Which I liked because it's just interesting. Like, oh, what's that? Like, where is that gonna go somewhere? Well, Dreamer's dead, so maybe not. But now when she comes back, I'm gonna be looking to see how she and John interact. Does that have any implications with Jay? I'm here for the drama.
Yeah.
That's good shit.
Luna says it in the chat, but I would also love a Nicole Maines John Kent book.
Yeah.
Has Nicole Maines been announced for anything? Because she's been on panels and stuff for DC recently. Like, they're putting her front and center on a lot of stuff.
I don't know.
Mark Waid just spoke, he praised her on an interview as a great person to work with. But I haven't seen her announced for any of these New Holland books. I'm digging her stuff so far, though.
She must be around.
Yeah, certainly.
Maybe backups on one of those new books, actually. Didn't think about that.
One of the new Superman books, yeah.
Yeah, so largely I had fun with this. I guess it's not a criticism of this book necessarily. I just feel like the whole John brainwashed cyborg Superman angle is being breezed by so fast. Like, I thought that maybe that would be a little bit of a status quo for John. You could do some interesting things, give him an edge to him, but none of that happened.
I kind of feel like this was treated a bit like his trauma with his grandfather or whatever, just
Right.
kind of shoved under the rug, you know?
Totally. Yeah. Totally. There's a lot of meat on the bone to me for John Kent. It's just that we haven't had the writer who's interested enough to take a bite. But there's something here with this character. I firmly believe that.
Yeah. Potential.
Do you think it's weird that it's called Super Son and not Superman?
No, that makes sense. You got to make the distinction. He's not there, right?
I know, but they made a big deal about him being Superman in previous books. I don't know. It's a one shot, so I'm probably reading too much into it. But
I think if it was an ongoing, I would feel how you feel. Yeah, and then from an art standpoint, I really like this too. Timms has been on a few things that I've read. I can't remember any of them off the top of my head, but I know that every time I see his art, and Travis Mercer as well, that I always have a good time. So I thought this looked really good.
Sean, was he on Harley a couple runs back
I don't remember
when they had like that Deadpool knockoff with, I think it was like Amanda Connors, maybe?
Timms was with correct me if I'm wrong. I think Tim's was with Jason Aaron on his little
Yep.
3-issue All-Star fucking Superman thing.
Yep, you're right.
Right. Yeah, I think you're right.
And
His
that was
fucking
great.
Superman thing.
John the John Kent like character here by John Timms and Travis Mercer is phenomenal.
Yeah, totally.
Like their rendition of this new costume looks great. You know, it's got the right contours and, you know, sleekness to it that looks like it fits.
Sean, was it Bendis' Young Justice you were thinking about?
No.
Oh, okay. That's the one I was trying to conjure, but I couldn't.
Yeah, I agree with you, Cale. I think the art really fits this character. Like, there's a youthfulness to it.
Yeah.
That fits John. Go ahead.
A youthfulness to it, but it also has an edge.
Yeah.
You know, like you were saying, especially in like the cyborg Superman parts.
Oh, well, even when they're back on Themyscira, like there's the moment where he and Jay are sort of standing in front of each other. The art is very like angular. Like he makes a lot of sharp lines, straight lines, and so things can look a little jagged. But then when you look at the face, at the last page when he's kind of like going to fly away, he still has like a little cutesy buttony nose and buttony hair and like those little like anime looking eyes. So there's a contrast there that works really well.
Dude, I'm just skimming through this, and the panel where they're at the party, John's party, and I guess it's Dreamer looks out the window and Brainiac Queen is just there watching.
Yeah.
I like that.
I don't know
page,
why,
yeah.
but that's just so funny to me.
That's how I imagine the guy in Blade Runner 2049 who lives in that building where Ana de Armas's hologram sees daily.
Come on.
Probably higher rent in that spot.
Tyler, this cover you have on the screen, insane.
Woo.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
Yeah.
It's pretty nuts. I can get you the artist in a second.
Damn.
This was a pull for me.
Yeah. Pull. Nice one done story.
It's a pull for me too. And this cover is by Lucio Parillo.
Ooh.
I enjoyed it, but I don't know if it's a pull. Okay, it's a pull.
Well, all right then.
I don't know, man. I had fun with this. I really did. For characters that I don't have a connection to. This is a lane of DCs that I have no relationship with.
Yeah.
That was the thing for me, like where it's like, oh, cool, this interaction between Dreamer and John is working. Okay, I don't know them, but I can feel like a little bit of chemistry. Oh, I'm not as familiar with Jay and John, but this moment felt real. Okay, cool. Like I think that was merit enough to be like, oh, it felt easy enough to probably jump into, and I think that's a good sign.
Yeah.
Well, I think some of my issues stem from like the you know, the admittedly incredible double page spreads, but like the content of the spreads, not the art obviously, but the you know, the come on John, just push through it, you know, of those, and then using that to sort of transition into the melodrama of it. Like I found that transition and the actual melodrama really good and fascinating. But then, you know, when you get into the actual super heroics of it all, I think that's where I found it lacking.
Well, we'll see if we get to follow the adventures of John and where we can follow the adventures of John and all these other characters post Absolute Power. Hopefully, you know, we get a little more in the body of Absolute Power #4, which is going to be dropping here next month. So not too long to wait. Let's see what the chat is saying about this issue. Phenomenal AC says Amanda Waller is lame. She's mid AF and wouldn't be a legit threat to any of the heroes. Look,
Whoa.
I've seen this sentiment. And I get it, but I feel like if you've been reading DC Comics loyally for the last few years, then everything that Amanda Waller is doing should feel right to you because this is what we've been watching her do. It's not out of nowhere.
Mm.
She's been putting all these pieces in place and she has assembled, like, you could say she's lame. I'm not going to argue with you, but if that's how you feel, okay, fine. But she's got Brainiac Queen on her shoulder. She's got what's the robot?
Failsafe.
Failsafe. She's got, she locked off the multiverse. She took their powers. Like, she's done so much to get herself to this place.
She's got 2 peacekeepers.
One's a lady.
Peacemaker.
Listen,
Peacemaker? Yeah.
And that's more peacekeepers than we have.
Peacemaker.
Peacekeeper's the one we like.
He knows what he said.
I don't.
Shane Stewart said, "Good morning, all." Yo, Shane, if you're still there, would you believe, not in a weird way, but would you believe that I was thinking about you the other day? I was looking at our email, and I saw an email from you, and I was like, "Wow, hey, we haven't heard from Shane in a while. Hope he's doing okay." So it's good to see you're doing okay, buddy.
I know.
Luna made a good call out here, saying, "I like that Galaxy makes a cameo." Galaxy was one of those newer DC characters that I believe showed up in the Jetsia, Axelrod's Hawkgirl series, and they made like a young reader's book for Galaxy as well. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Philosopher King says there was more heat in that rooftop scene than the entirety of John Kent's relationship with Jay. And to be honest, I felt that in this scene with Jay.
Yep.
Which made me go, "Oh, okay. I'll be here for a triangular drama."
A challenger situation.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, you should watch it. I think you like it.
So whenever Jay grabbed John's hand at the very end of the book, like the second to last page, and he kind of turns him around, I thought the next page would be a kiss.
Oh, same.
And when it wasn't, I was like, okay. So then there's no heat between these two men.
They
didn't commit.
They done.
Yeah, and well, I felt that it was a moment of like they didn't commit to this moment because I had that same reaction where because he's like, yeah, we can do it together or go do it, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I'm like, oof, like I needed you needed
my,
some emotion there.
My man's just gonna stay with him till he saves the world, and then they done.
Yo,
Like, I hate to bring this up, and I don't want to like hang on this for too long, but if Jay were a woman and John was straight, they would have kissed, right?
yeah, yep.
I
think
so.
so.
That's just how I felt in that moment. Like, either they deliberately don't want us to feel like they want us to feel like there's something wrong, like they're not there with each other right now, or DC just isn't trying to let that happen. But they put that on a cover a couple of years ago. So I don't know. I don't want to make a big deal out of it, but
and not for nothing, like they are trying to put seemingly John and Dreamer in that space, you know?
Yeah.
Dreamer, who is trans, but not really addressed.
Yeah.
And John's bi, right? So
yeah.
I agree with you, Sean. I felt that. I think it was definitely they didn't want to. I felt like they didn't want to show it.
Can I also just add one more thing, just from the art side on Jay? And I mean this as no disrespect to the artist whatsoever, because I think it's also baked into who Jay is as a character. The most background ass looking character you could have.
That's so funny.
You look like a character from the PlayStation Concord game that got canceled.
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude.
Like he showed up. I think it might be the panel where he says "good," and like he's got those bangs that hang over half his face, and then the glasses, and to add more character, they gave him pink hair. Like,
yeah.
New haircut. That's all I ask. Change it
New
up.
character. Come on, just get him out of here. I'm
Bro.
sick of this.
He reminds me of Sean, Yu-Gi-Oh! Weevil
Weevil,
Underwood.
yeah.
Weevil.
Weevil,
Hell yeah,
dude.
bro.
Yeah, with the fucking the
Yup.
cut. Weevil ass looking motherfucker, dude.
I got pictures of me with that same haircut.
Stop.
So relatively recently too. I can send you that. Oh, there he is.
Hey
There.
guys, I'm Jay Nakamura. I'm dating Superman.
I thought that was.
I'm actually really mad at Dreamer. She killed my mom. Did you guys hear about that?
the lead
I'm
singer
not
of
sad
Death
she
Cab for
died.
Cutie just showed up on the show.
That's insane, dude. Oh my god.
That actually hurt my eyes.
Cale ruined his hair to deliver that moment to you guys, which means you should show love back by hitting the like button.
Pay for my
get it.
haircut.
Yeah, let's go. Let's go. We've got 4 more books to get through. Having a good time. Let's keep it rocking. Philosopher King said, I think it's more about creating an actually interesting love triangle as opposed to not wanting to show the same-sex relationship. Okay, Philosopher King, I'm going to put that aside. Are you not the guy that said, and if you're not the guy, then I apologize, but I think you're the guy that said that you were going to see at a convention. Who did he? Someone said they were going to see like Tom King at a convention or somebody, or Mitch Gerrits, and they were going to bring us up and say, "Oh, you should do the Comics Pals." You guys remember that? Am I alone here?
Yes, I do remember that.
I think that was Philosopher King.
I don't recall.
Oh, you're coming for receipts now.
Yes, yes, that's exactly
Recently.
what I'm coming for.
He must have been out of his
Recently.
kingdom at the time. The royal decree didn't quite hit the same.
But to answer his or to respond to his statement here, I think they could do both in this situation.
Of course,
I think they should have done both in this situation.
I think we should go full poly.
Not with
Well,
these characters. Save that for
yeah.
Archie. Archie needs that.
it was Chip. Okay, it was Chip. I knew it was you, Philosopher King. Yeah, where's the receipt on that, brother man? Talk to me. While he does that, let's talk about Batman Superman World's Finest, number 31, Mark Waid, with art by Adrian Gutierrez, Tamara Bonvillain on colors, Steve Wands on the letters, Dan Mora tickling our balls with a feather by doing the covers, but not the interiors.
Sean Lord just unlocked.
I said
Man.
our. I didn't say mine only. We're all in
Collectively.
that. Yes.
That's worse.
I'm going to be really honest right now. I'm not going to try to bullshit you guys. I'm not going to do anything like that. I read this issue. Maybe I was grumpy. Maybe I wasn't. Who knows? And I got to be honest. I don't know what the fuck happened in this comic book. I don't know.
Really?
Yep.
Do you know who Eclipso is?
Nope.
That explains it.
I mean, don't they say it in the book? Like, oh, when an eclipse happens, this guy shows up and he does bad shit.
I
Yeah.
told you I don't know what the fuck happened. I'm not blaming the comic. I didn't know. If you guys know, that's great. I didn't know.
Yeah. For me, I can see if you don't have an idea of how cool Eclipso is, you're just like off the board.
I got to the end and I was like, what did I read?
Because this is a character that hasn't been used since Identity Crisis.
Wow.
Little
So
arcs here and there.
Tyler, since you got it so well, why don't you tell me what happened in this book?
Yeah, so this is when the Justice League is building the Watchtower, which is their kind of base operations in space that kind of revolves around Earth. So it being World's Finest, it's set in the past, so it's set during the creation of that. In the middle of it, they need solar power for it. They need a way of powering this thing. So they took, I don't know, it's Bruce something. It's Eclipso's human form.
Gordon.
Yes.
Bruce Gordon.
Bruce Gordon, which is like a very normal name. Don't call anyone else Bruce in DC. That threw me off. But Bruce Gordon and his wife is there, who he has a specialty in solar power. So they're like, all right, even though this guy is kind of technically a villain, we're going to trust him for this because he's being controlled by a gem that we put somewhere away from him. He's fine. He's fine. He's not going to do anything bad. Little do they know that gem still has a bit of it Eclipso in him, and it activates him to pretty much release Eclipso in the Watchtower, which causes half the Justice League to be affected by it, possessed by it. Yeah, magic-based user. So, I like the title, Total Eclipso, right on the cover.
Had a cool eclipse.
Low hanging fruit, but you got to go for it. You got to go for it.
Gavin and Tilo in the chat going for the joke.
Funny.
Got the missed the chance to add a romance angle and call it Total Eclipse of the Heart.
I bet you it was brought up and somebody told them to bring it back a bit. I had fun with this one. I like World's Finest for like just being DC comic stories that I can read and just enjoy for what it is. I don't even need to have read issue 30. Like, Batman shows up halfway through this. It seemed almost inconsequential that Batman's in this. And it's just a fun story about a certain time of Justice League where Red Tornado and Elongated Man were relevant. So it was nice seeing that. And I thought the art was really interesting. Gutierrez, I don't have his first name.
Adrian Gutierrez.
Adrian, doing some really interesting work here. We're going to talk about Riley Rosmo later, but there's some dramatizing in the figure of a very classic Justice League team that I don't think I've ever seen for a very classic Justice League team. Even though, Dan Mora is typically the artist on this, I thought the art was not Dan Mora, but it was definitely good. And it was different than Dan Mora, which I appreciated.
I love the art. That was going to be the big call out for me. The some of the characters, they feel a little elastic. There's like this really good inking that he does to create kind of like a dark mood, but the colors are bright or sometimes a little muted, and so it ends up coming off as a little more classic, almost like you're looking at like a sepia is the wrong word, but it's orangey and it feels like there's more contrast to it. And then there's some moments where I think he does things where things feel fuzzy when it's in the action moments. So I absolutely loved the art on this one. It wasn't Mora, but this guy was real cool, man. And I think he plays really well for the against the story. That similar to Tyler, I enjoyed that this was just a one in done story where we come in at the beginning, we come out at the end, and that's it. I got taken on a ride.
Well, it's a 2 and done. We'll get more.
Well,
Amin Perez with the 5 spot. Ali, could you please explain why you had a full ass kryptonite arrow in your quiver, ready to be shot?
yo, chill, calling him out.
Word, right?
Oliver Queen has that thing on him.
Yeah, I think that's standard quiver.
Well,
You work
shit,
with
dude.
Superman, you gotta have that.
If it's in the quiver and Superman's around, that doesn't just affect them all the time when they're on a mission together.
I mean,
Encased in lead.
I think it's the same. Yeah, I think it's the same as like Batman's secret kryptonite compartment in his belt. You know,
Right.
you keep it locked away in lead or whatever.
Man, you can't trust no one. Be your own man sometimes. Jeez.
Be your own.
Appreciate you, Amin. And that's a good opportunity to say that super chats are open. If you guys do feel like contributing and supporting, then that is the best way to do that outside of Patreon, patreon.com/thecomicspals, which I neglected to mention earlier. I'm pretty much recusing myself from speaking on this issue because I really genuinely didn't understand it and I didn't care to read it again. I was just like, you know what? I'll just be on the outside looking in on this one. And to be honest with you, I'm probably going to take a break from World's Finest now.
Damn.
As in, it's not going to be on the poll options. It's probably the contender when it comes to being on the poll.
Tyler, I'm just talking about what I want to read. I'm not banning it from the poll. I'm not doing that. I'm just saying that for me, for my money, for my dollar, for what I want to read, I would rather take a break. But yeah, I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it. I just didn't understand it, and I realized that by then I didn't even care to.
I will say, real nice to see friend of the show Wildcat at the end of the book. Talk about fuzzy. He actually has a bit of fuzz to him. Unlike the way Nightcrawler is apparently also has fuzz to him. Don't like that. I'm cool with it with Wildcat, though.
That's what I'm saying, dude. There's a little fuzz to this stuff. It's good.
I'm a
for
pass,
me.
obviously. Okay.
Yeah, it's pull.
It's a pull.
And we're getting Justice Society next.
Oh, yeah, World's Finest, a.k.a. Justice Society.
Just how God intended.
Yeah, I'd make a joke about, like, that's the only way they're going to have a book. But they are getting a book, so it's a new age.
Philosopher King says, well, I did just post something in the Discord for you pals about my interaction with Chip. Oh, well then, I guess we will read it now that we are on the air, because why not? He says, since Sean called me out, here is a pic of the custom drawing Chip did and signed on a blank variant of Time Waits #1. Oh, that's awesome. Is that a character from Time Waits, or is that the character from Public Domain? Because that looks to me like one of the sons from Public Domain. And if you want to see what Philosopher King shared with us, then you've got to be on our Discord server. So you can click the link in the description of this video if you're watching us on video, and you will be able to join us.
David Brothers draw a tomato?
That's what it looks like, yeah. Honestly, that's a good tomato.
Silhouette says, I'm surprised you guys don't remember Eclipso was used in Jeremy Adams' Flash run, though. Before that, he was used in Justice League versus Suicide Squad during Rebirth. I guess that's how forgettable he is. I didn't read all of Jeremy Adams' Flash.
Yeah.
I read some of it.
Same.
Yeah, I hopped off after that 1 Minute War.
Yeah.
Shit, I hopped off in the middle of that 1 Minute War.
Same, yeah.
Yeah. I think we read that wrestling issue
Yeah.
and then a couple issues of 1 Minute War, and then we bounced.
Par for the course for me. I couldn't even last a minute.
Yeah.
You did draw a tomato.
All right. Let's exit the realm of DC Comics and talk about X-Men. Written by Jed McKay, with art by pencils, by Netho Diaz, inks by Sean Parsons, colors by Marta Gracia. So, all right. If I hadn't read this, I could have told you what the issue would be.
Yeah.
There is a mission that involves mutants whose powers are manifesting outside the realm of their youth. Cyclops has to send a small group of the already small group of X-Men on this mission because for some reason or another, the rest of the X-Men are tied up. They're indisposed. They're unavailable. Juggernaut is going to be quippy. He's going to run into some stuff. Beast is going to talk some shit. And they're going to tease us with another mission that will essentially be the same as the one we read. Was that right?
Just about, yeah.
You're not wrong.
The one thing I would add to your synopsis is that it's a different villain team from the ones we've already seen.
It's always the same thing. Like, I can't believe this. I genuinely can't. Like, why does he get to write the same issue every single time?
McKay makes it his business.
It's not just this book either. It's Avengers 2. This book features yet another introduction of villains who we may or may not see again, and we have to learn their powers, learn their names. It's the same thing.
Yep.
It's the same thing, and it's like the knockoff versions because it's a villain team, so they're fighting, the Shaggy guy's fighting the Shaggy guy, all that kind of stuff.
Dude, it's not even just a villain team. It's an X-Statix villain team. Like, this is how far down the rabbit hole we are with drawing these villains out. Like, and I think this is the post-Krakoa effect, where the villains were kind of kumbaya with everyone. They can't undo that. So they have to draw from the available pool of characters that nobody wanted to touch before. And that's why we got the reveal of who the big bad of this arc is at the end. Because it's like Sugar Man. Outside of X-Men Age of Apocalypse, the video game for the PSP that I played, I've never heard of Sugar Man. I've never read a Sugar Man book. I know he exists. Yeah, I popped too, though, because it's a cool action figure and I've seen that. But like that's where we are though. Like Sugar Man is like if you don't got mojo, you do Sugar Man. And it just feels like we're kind of skimming.
We have mojo at home.
Yeah, we're kind of skimming the fat off of the remainder of the ashes of X-Men. And I am with you. It's repetitive. The best thing that this book has done so far was that Cyclops diner scene, because it wasn't the same stuff, you know? We get nothing really here. We get a tease that something did happen to Magneto. There's a throwaway line here.
Yeah.
But it's very throwaway. It's half a sentence. It doesn't feel like it's really being teased properly. This book helps that it has Stegman art. Or not, this issue doesn't even have it, but it has a Stegman cover. But I'm having trouble with this one.
Yeah.
This one's disappointing me. I will say that.
Even from the art front, I felt like this Netho Diaz, mostly in the face, I feel like has a lot of inconsistencies. In a lot of pages, Ileana was just looks different, different structure, all that kind of stuff. Even some of the villain faces look different. Yeah, there's something there that doesn't hit 100%. And this is our premier title book. Like, I feel like we should have a strong consistency in art.
Can I just jump in here, because Mike's Total Dragon channel said exactly what I've been coming on here and saying for months. He said, that's what happens when you give every villain a redemption arc. That is exactly what I've been saying. They spent so much time rehabbing all the X-Men villains during the Krakoan age that now there's nowhere to go. There is nowhere to go. They're inventing people that suck. They're bringing in Sugar Man, who I pop for. I like Sugar Man. I got no problem with Sugar Man. But there are so many great X-Men villains that you could tap into, and they're just not. And miss me with the whole, oh, well, it's for new readers, so they need to use, new villains, so it could be baby's first villain. Fucking Fitzroy is not a new villain. Fitzroy is an old-ass character that nobody cares about. But they put him here and pair him in the same book with Sugar Man, who Tyler doesn't even know. What are we talking about? How can you stand by this? Look, everybody can like what they like at the end of the day. I'm not here to critique what you like. If you enjoy this, that's great. But I just don't get it. I'm not going to be reading this book past 6 issues. I just can't. I don't care that there's a crossover coming. I don't care that it's X-Men at this point. Jed McKay, I just don't understand. I just don't. What is the fucking arc? What is the arc? Why do I care? What's the message? What's the point?
No through line.
It's comics for comics. There's been too many years of comics to just do comics for comics at this stage of the X-Men. And in 4 issues from now, they're going into an event.
Damn. Let it breathe.
But don't worry. They've announced 47 more titles to make sure that you pick up all your daily dose of X-Men.
That all have no heat.
Well, I don't know.
None of them.
Sugar Man #1 coming out in May might be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Comes with a lickable variant.
This is it's infuriating. It's infuriating. It's like it's getting to the point with these X books where it's like, do you think that I'm such a fucking sap that I'm just gonna keep plunking my money down?
They put out that new cover for Phoenix with Thanos on it, and I think they do think that of people.
Rami says, it seems like it's the villain of the week approach, but it's hard when there's no compelling villains. When the people they fight against, you throw a couple fists, and in this case, oh, we'll get you next time, X-Men.
And it's also like they're not even doing anything compelling.
Yeah.
I'm gonna read a passage, if you will, from this issue, because this is the kind of like fake drumming up care for the characters, and I thought this sequence was just, I couldn't even believe it. I was slack-jawed reading this. So it's Juggernaut versus one of these jobbers, and the guy's like, "You're not even a mutant. This has nothing to do with you." And Juggernaut goes, and mind you, the enemy guy is blasting Juggernaut with some green ray. I'm fine with the fact that it doesn't affect Juggernaut. That makes sense to me. But as he's approaching this guy, look at this. Look at this. Look at how close he is. Okay? Really think about how close he is. This is all of the dialogue that goes on between these 5 panels. You're not even a mutant. This has nothing to do with you. And Juggernaut says, "Yeah, no. Yeah, I ain't a mutant. But as long as I wear this X on my head, this has everything to do with me. I make it my business because it ain't a symbol. It's a target, or crosshairs. And I wear it right here. So anyone who thinks they're going to take their shot at me has to look me in the eyes. So they see what's in those eyes. So they see what I'm going to do to them. Are you fucking kidding me?"
Did not know you had a Juggernaut impression, Sean.
Great voice.
Thank you.
Yeah, that was a particular, like, he doesn't need to be a snappy character like that. He tumbles, he kicks shit down. That's it.
I know it's not canon, but like him just saying "I'm the Juggernaut," like that is more in character, I feel.
I'm not trying to shit on what you like. If you like this, you can just forget everything I said. If it doesn't pertain to you, that's cool. I'm talking about how I feel, and I feel duped. I genuinely feel duped. And I love the X-Men. Go ahead, Cale.
There's just nothing here. It's been 4 issues of the exact same issue plot. You know? And all leading to nothing. Every single issue is nothing.
Looks like Kyle Benson is enjoying it. John B says, I get your point, but I get total Saturday morning cartoon vibes from this book, and I'm enjoying it. Glad you are, dude. Yeah. Glad you're having fun with it. But I feel like that's not the story that I'm looking for when it comes to these characters, to the title X-Men.
Ways of the Sith says, "See, I liked this speech because this was the discourse around him being on Krakoa and part of this team. I just assumed it was nepotism."
How did this other mutant know he's a mutant or not?
Yeah,
is
that
like
is that like just the hot goss in the mutant area?
Yeah. Yeah, you know that Juggernaut? It's not even a mutant.
It just, that moment felt so manufactured to get Juggernaut to be able to say those words, but it just doesn't feel earned. You can't read those lines of dialogue and know who Juggernaut is and think that that makes sense coming out of his mouth. I just don't believe it.
We don't know anything about this Juggernaut. Where's he been? What's he been doing? Like, before issue 1, the last thing we saw was him being shot through the moon or whatever the fuck. Like,
In Krakoa, the only time I saw him was when he was on the voting list for the last Hellfire Gala. I mean, there are some Juggernaut stories where he's somewhat similar to this, but I still think it's a lot for one page.
and I like, sorry, Sean, I like the lines, but I agree. I think it's completely unearned.
And I don't think there is a way to explain Juggernaut's involvement with the X-Men that's ever going to satisfy me as a person, because of where I'm at with the fact that that just doesn't add up, because I watched him try to kill them over and over and over and over again and have absolutely nothing but disdain for mutant kind. But okay, fine. If you're going to tell me that he's changed his ways, then cool. But all this bullshit about him being this jovial guy who's just running around with an X on his head, all this horse shit, just miss me with it, man. I just can't. Everything about this just feels so surface level and phony, and I can't do it with this book. I'm sorry. I don't come on here to do this to comics. I love comics. I love the X-Men, but this just feels hollow to me.
Thank you, Uncaged, for joining the becoming a Comics Pal sidekick on YouTube. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Uncaged. That's
Double dip.
awesome, because Uncaged is already a patron, so just going the extra mile. Thank you. Hopefully, Uncaged, you're not one of the people who loves this book, because I would hate to have just, gone on that tirade.
It's cool to love the book. There's some good parts here. We're not saying like I have seen I don't think it's a bad book. It is just. I'm not speaking for you, Sean, but I don't think it's a bad book. I just think that there are some glaring flaws with it that are extra glaring because this is X-Men proper.
And the Netho Diaz art, I think, is solid. Like, to be honest with you, it's definitely not Stegman, but for me right now, that's not a problem, because at least this Cyclops looks age appropriate.
Yeah. Do you see the panel? It's on page 5, where he's giving the mission briefing at the bottom. The bottom of that page, Sean. You can they drew his eyes through the visor.
Oh
Yeah.
God, that's horrifying.
Yeah.
Oh, I
can
thought
you
that
see
was
that?
just. I thought that was just glare.
Well, it looks like it's supposed to be, but it also looks like there's eyes in it.
I think that's eyes.
Yeah, it looks. They look off.
I mean, you just turn Cyclops' skin green there, and he looks like Son of the Mask, and that Jamie, the sequel to The Mask. That was a weird chin to put on him.
Atomic Hound with the $4.99. Thank you so much. Hound says X-Men is becoming to Sean what Harley Quinn and Catwoman have been to me for the last 2.5 years. Dude, you're right, and it sucks so bad because it's not like I was loving the X-Men like within the 6 months prior to this relaunch, but man, at least it felt like there was a direction.
Yeah.
This just doesn't feel like anything. It's just comics for comics' sake. Dan Trudeau says, I'm a good guy now. Okay, I guess you didn't have to deal with the consequences of the terrible things you've done. Exactly. And it made sense during Krakoa for the ex-villains not named Juggernaut because they were mutants. So they're being brought into the fold. This motherfucker's not a mutant. So he never paid the price for all of the mutant crimes he committed, but then he's also welcome to the cookout. Miss me with that.
Don't invite him.
Never.
Ultimate X-Men was better this week.
Was it?
I liked it.
I mean, not to us, but like to everybody.
I genuinely
else,
wouldn't know.
I downloaded it. Like I bought it, so it'll be there.
Oh boy. Pass.
Pass. Yep.
I've been so done with this book. Pass.
It's a pass unless I can see someone selling the Godzilla Chris Samnee variant of this. Then it's a pull. But other than that, the book itself is a pass.
Man, Marvel's never going to hire me talking all this shit, huh?
I mean, listen.
Hey, give me your opinion.
It's art critique. Like,
just
I would say Jed McKay is probably not going to hire you, but
yeah.
Luna says exactly what I've been saying about these titles.
Oh.
What sucks is this era is supposed to be my jumping on point for X-Men, and this book is not doing it.
Yeah.
And I'll throw it down again. There's nothing for these books. 87, 80, 50, 80, 15 titles, and none of them are connected. They're not cohesive. There's nothing driving them.
What's driving them is the IPification of the X-Men characters.
There you go.
And smell where that smoke's coming from.
Well, but and even at the height of the Avengers stuff, there were 3, 4 Avengers titles, right? Like,
Thinking of like Remenders, Captain America at that time. Yeah.
I just threw up a poll, very simple poll. Are you enjoying X-Men, the main series right now? Yes or no? While you are answering the poll, make sure you smash the like button. I just checked. We've got half the likes that we have viewers right now. We've got 60 plus of you in here. We should have a lot more likes than that.
That's disgusting.
Let's do it.
Is this the main series? Isn't Uncanny the main series?
I think Uncanny is the main series because it is Uncanny, and that is the flagship like titling of the X-Men. But I guess I just, for the sake of this poll, I meant this specific book, not the X-Men line as a whole.
Sure.
But also, X-Men has been the main book for the past, 6 years. So.
Has it? Immortal was the main book.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Yeah. Okay. Well.
Rami says, how long do you think it'll take for the next reboot? I don't think we're gonna get another reboot for some time. I think this is what it is.
I think we'll be a lot more likely to get a driving focus. Like a reboot is gonna take some Hickman level engineering, and that I don't think we're gonna get for a long time. But I think for stuff to progress, I think we're gonna need someone with a vision for where they are now.
Hey, David Melendez, good to see you. David Melendez Doria, it's good to see you here. And he's sounding off. He says, I think this is subpar even compared to some of the other relaunch books. I struggle seeing how this is the same guy delivering me fun Moon Knight comics monthly for years now. And I'm glad you said that. Because it's not like I'm not condemning Jed McKay as a human. I'm not even condemning Jed McKay as a creator. I'm just saying I don't like this book. And I don't like Avengers. Everything else, you guys are free to love, whatever, that's cool. The other statement I want to make is that to everybody who's been in our comments section saying that it's sour grapes on my part because the Krakoan era is over, no, that is flat out wrong. That is completely wrong. I don't give a fuck. By the end, I was looking forward to it ending because it wasn't good. It wasn't good anymore. I was really looking forward to like, all right, cool. Hey, they brought out their biggest guns. They got Gail Simone. They got Jed McKay. Let's bring it. I didn't think it was going to be like this.
Yep.
Good is good.
Period.
This ain't it.
Yeah.
To us.
Brian Harry says, not reading it, so I'll abstain from voting. However, if Uncanny is the main title, then the answer becomes yes. I think Uncanny is pretty solid. It has work to do, but it's solid.
But even still, the character interactions, the dialogue, and you're never going to believe this, different things happen in each different issue. So it's already winning in my book.
I mean, if things kept happening the same way they happened in issue 1, we'd have a lot of dead cancer kids in the series at this point. So I'm glad they're doing some new stuff per issue.
Uncaged says Ultimate X-Men #7 was pretty hot. We have a Psylocke now, Quinnon or whatever, and I know how to handle Fall Moons now. I'm glad that Ultimate X-Men worked this week. I wouldn't know because I didn't read it. But yeah, right now I am soft on the X line, and I that if you know me, you know that pains me to say.
Philosopher
no joy in
King.
that. Yeah, go ahead.
Philosopher King says, "From the ashes and into the trashes."
Oof.
Oh man, I would never trash a comic. Like I would never throw a comic book away. But
Just
I
won't
get
read it.
yeah, I get your sentiment for sure. Brian Harry, what TMNT book? You're talking about like TMNT issue 2 because we did discuss that when it dropped, which I think was last week. Yeah. All right. All right. Let's get into the Power Fantasy issue number 2. Kieran Gillen, Casper Wingard, Clayton Cowles, and Ryan Hughes make up the creative team for this one. Hopefully you read the first issue if you are listening to us, because I think it's important. Like you need to know what happened in that.
Yeah.
Basically this issue is a direct follow-up from the last one. It's still giving us the lay of the land. It's still sort of showing us like who are these people, who are these atomics, what kind of world is this, how much sway and power do these powered individuals really have, which this book does a great job of establishing, I think. And what is the interplay? What is the drama between these characters? And there's a really great metaphor at the center of this comic, which is that nuclear weapons, nuclear bombs, nukes, are deterrents. The function of nuclear weaponry is not war, it's actually peace. Because if we all have nukes, it doesn't matter that we all have them, because as soon as one of us uses them, the world is over. It's just done. Everybody's going to throw them up in the sky. It's a wrap. So it's mutually assured destruction. You do me in, I do you in, it's over.
Both lose.
Exactly. And so this comic is essentially taking that core idea and applying it to superpowers. I think that's pretty brilliant. I love that. What did you guys think about the execution?
Phenomenal. This was my pick of the week. I caught up. I read issue 1 and 2 back to back because I didn't read the first one, and I loved the concept from the get go. Like especially considering there's like this level of, oh, we're supposed to be ethical about all of this stuff. That like what is the correct way forward? And I like how we get into Etienne gets into just logic games, right? Like, okay, if you do this, then this happens, then this happens, and this is a consequence. Like, we're preparing for all of these things. And it's interesting because as much as he logics his way through a situation, he's also rationalizing. And so he comes up to a point where he's compromising his own ethics within an acceptable degree of uh of casualty. So I'm like, that's incredible. It's either you take what's the dilemma? The
Sean, are we on the same page
Yeah.
here, Sean?
Yes, yes, yes.
Oh my God. That was such a long time ago.
Remember when Marco was going off about acceptable losses?
Oh yeah. God. I
Was
wonder if
I
we
on
could
the
even.
show?
Oh no.
yeah, was it not?
I think
Yes,
it,
it
I
was.
think
I think it was. I'm pretty sure
Was
it
it?
was. Yeah, I'm pretty sure
yeah,
it was.
because we were arguing about weren't we arguing about AI? That's how it kicked off.
No, we were arguing
No?
about it was about COVID. It was about like
Oh,
shipments or something like that.
Oh, so then it would have predated Tyler.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
That tracks.
yeah.
That tracks,
long
Marco. I have
time
that
ago.
opinion.
yeah.
Yeah, that. I see the line.
What? uh, but I think he executes it in a way that shows you the consequence of these things. It's you pull the trolley cart, right? You either kill one person or you kill five, and he's playing this on these crazy scales to appease another superpowered being, and he's just playing a balancing act, like he says in the first issue. And so it's a lot of him, Etienne, wheeling and dealing, and I love that. That's all that this is literally just him wheeling and dealing. And there's great stuff that Gillen says in the back matter for this about the inception and like how he's thinking about it.
I love this issue too. I thought it was really good. I think the Casper Wingard art is. I'm not seeing anything like it currently in comics. Especially the way it's colored. I think Casper colors his own stuff.
Yeah.
It's just different. Like, look at the cover. If you haven't read the book and you're watching the show, look at the cover that I have on the screen. That's essentially the palette you're getting for this book. It changes in some of the more higher intensity moments, but again, it's a choice. I really like the idea that, like, this is Gillen says it in the back matter. This is what he was trying to do with X-Men and realized that he couldn't because he was kind of chained with all of that history and it being X-Men. And that this is just a cold war for superheroes. And it's a lot of talking. It's called the power fantasy, but there's a lot of talking in it. And I ate it up. This is what Gillen does so good. Gillen tackled some of these heady ideas in Die as well, and Wicked and the Divine. This is probably the closest to Wick Div I've seen Gillen do in a long time, and I'm just really enjoying it. In 2 issues, I already have an idea of who the core players are, generally who they are as people, as personality wise as well. But there's still some mystery, and I just really like that. I'm having a blast with this book.
I could use a little more of other characters. I'm getting a little bit lost with all the names. Like when I see a face, I'm like, okay, I got that. But if they don't say a character's name, I feel I get confused. But what I'm really enjoying in these 2 issues, and what I think shows Gillen's sort of longer game or potential longer game, is lines like Etienne says, I can psychically control people. That includes me. I keep myself balanced.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Cool. I don't know what that means. That sounds awesome.
Well, it's in the context of how do you when you're killing people, how do you not just go mad?
Yeah.
He's like,
cool.
Oh, I just do it to myself. He's playing himself.
Yeah. And he and then even on the next page, we get more foreshadowing with, Masumi, I think this character's name is. She says, my brain is a void, no light escapes. And Etienne says, I didn't say that. And she goes, no, it did.
Yes.
Fucking cool. All right.
She's a black hole, right?
I don't know.
And it's cool because he has to balance. Like for me, it seemed like, okay, if she gets too upset, whatever is in her head, right, is obviously going to pop out, but that has its own level of loss attached to it. There's a certain percentage that we're going to see die from that. So how do I figure out who is worth the risk and who is not worth the risk, and how do I preempt these situations? Real good.
Yeah, this was my pick of the week as well. I don't know if it was. I really liked it. I really enjoyed it. I found myself at some point being like, okay, the first issue established a lot of this. I feel like I get it. Let's do a little more. And then by the end, I was like, okay, I'm in. I'm into this. The last page reveal, I was like, is this supposed to matter to me? I don't get the like, why is this? What's the, did I miss something? Who is this? But on the whole, I think the dialogue is smart. It's a Kieran Gillen book. Like, what else is it going to be? Of course, it's going to be smart. It looks great. I enjoyed it. I just need to see the direction. I need to see we've got the world down. Now, where is this world headed?
Well, the last page reveal is heavy,
Yeah.
okay, is his secret son.
Got it.
Isolated in a super secret psychic chamber, I guess. And, he has that line, our secret, Heavy has the line, our sex lives we put out in the open. Our secrets stay secret. So nobody knows about this kid. And meanwhile, the other atomics, I think they are, that we haven't met yet, are having this discussion about the state of the world and the state of everything. And there's a very delicate balance that Etienne himself, it seems like, is really trying to hang on to. They very specifically say, if that balance is thrown, the whole thing goes.
Right.
That balance is going to be thrown when this kid reveals himself.
Oh, well, not even to the world, but right now. Like, this is the reveal to the core six now.
That
No.
reveal was only to Heavy's family.
Yeah.
Oh,
The family time is to Heavy's little cult. This was the reveal to us.
oh, I see. So these guys already know.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. I thought that like, was it Eliza and Jackie and all these other people were just figuring it out.
No.
Okay.
No. That's not the impression I got.
Yeah, I mean, this is building to something that I hope will end up great. I have never I read Peter Cannon Thunderbolt, I think it was called,
Loved.
which I tried with and I fell off cuz I don't know.
I can definitely see you not enjoying that book.
Yeah, and I never read Wicked and Divine, I never read Die, so my only familiarity with Kieran Gillen is Big 2. And I didn't love what he was doing with the X-Men after like the halfway mark of Immortal. So for him, I'm very cautious. And it's like, damn, he's fucking with things and playing with ideas that I really like. This is the kind of brain teasy stuff that I like to think about. Is he going to deliver? We'll see.
This is the space that I know him for.
Yeah.
More so than anything else. So like, I feel like you're in for a ride.
The track record for books like this for Gillen hits much more than it misses.
Yeah.
I mean, I've only heard positive things about the aforementioned books, so I have no reason to believe otherwise. And just on its own, this is starting off very well.
Yeah.
So like I would say 2 issues in, if you like to sort of read headier books that force you to think and consider like there's no action really. And Gillen wrote an essay about this in the back matter, and he talks about how, like I just said about nuclear weaponry, you can't go to war because that would be the end. So similarly, these atomics cannot fight each other. They can't go to battle because that will be the end of everything. So there is kind of this, Cold War where they have to make sure that no one is throwing blows, that this doesn't go that way. And that's a very compelling concept. So I definitely pull. All 3 of you said pick of the week?
Not me.
So this was my pick of the week last week because we picked this up last week because it was solicited for last week.
Yeah, we had advanced reviews, yeah.
So pick of the week, but for last week.
All right. I forgot that you guys had already read this.
I'm very glad I got to read it a second time.
Oh, good. Yeah. Cole says, number 1 didn't really click for me. I wanted to like it and read it twice, but glad others like it though. Sorry it didn't work for you.
Yeah. My jam.
Brian Harry says, glad to see you guys discussing stuff other than the big 2. Indies deserve love too. Some good indie titles right now. I feel like we read our fair share of indies. I mean, yeah, right?
I don't even consider an image Kieran Gillen book as an indie. Like that. Like for me, like it's big 3 sometimes.
Yeah, anything outside of the big 2 is an indie. It's just that Image now has made it a big 3, but a big company of indies.
Yeah, the I in indie is the Image logo.
In the comic space, being 3rd means you have probably less than 10% of market share. So
yeah.
Well, I mean, James Jones says loving the Power Fantasy so far, sells out at my LCS. Great.
Hey, nice.
Yeah. And just real quick on the subject of Brian's comment, you know, you guys have to let us know too, because
Hmm.
we do what we do in consideration of you guys. And when we put indie books on the poll, a lot of times they don't do very well, or you guys won't vote in the poll. You know, someone left us a comment earlier on the poll that's up right now saying, "Oh, I'm not even going to vote because I don't care about these books." And it's like, all right, well, what do you want us to do? So we try different things out. Power Fantasy is by creators who we like, so it's an easy a book for us to try out here on the show. But if we start talking about this book and I look down and I see that 20 people have stopped watching, that makes me feel like not putting books like this on the show, which didn't happen today, by the way. So I'm glad for that. You guys have stuck around and that makes me feel good. But that is something that we have dealt with in the past. So. Oh no, Brian Harry says my LCS burned down. That's
Holy
horrible.
cow.
Damn, holy shit.
Where is this? What is this? I haven't heard about this.
They have a Kickstarter. Put it in the chat.
Yeah, is there some kind of way we can support the owner and get this back on and running? That's awful. Wow. Not a good thing to hear at all. Atomic Hound says nuclear weapons. Why am I not reading this book? Hey,
Yeah.
yeah.
Interesting. I think this would be a Hound book.
I think that was a nuclear joke, like an atomic joke.
But still though,
I got it. Yeah.
I feel like Atomic Hound loves great comics.
This is
Good
great
taste.
comics.
Good taste.
Heroic Age, good to see you. Heroic says the indies are what I want most since I don't know which are good. That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. I hear that.
And there's such a, I feel like you're also entering some kind of like risk there, right? There's such a range of quality to it. So yeah, I hear that. Sometimes and you have to balance it with your budget. Sometimes you just shoot your shot, you miss, and you take note of the creative team, I guess.
Yeah. Exactly.
Brian Harry says Missy's Comic Shop in Dothan, Alabama.
Yeah, I think so.
They have a GoFundMe
Damn.
that was posted in July, so I don't know how active it is. So it was a while back. I put it in the link, but I don't know if it's too active right now.
That's wow, that's devastating. There is a GoFundMe. Unfortunately, it didn't do so hot. They have $100,000 goal. That's lofty. Well, shit, we put it in the chat. So feel free to donate, but it would be great to hear from them to know. Like, I would love to know, like, are they trying to rebuild it at this point? Are they giving up the ghost? Like, what's the story there? So, Brian, if you know anything, shit, let us know. Like, can we talk to them? Are they, like, what are they trying to do? Neighborhood Merc says, do you guys have a preference of people joining the Patreon or channel membership? Thank you so much for asking that, Neighborhood Merc. What we receive the most of and what helps us the most is Patreon. They take less of a cut than YouTube does. And in turn, we try to give as much as we can back. So that's how you get your nickname. That's how you get a shout out on the main show, the origin, and all that. So, we give a lot to our patrons.
Yeah, if you're gonna choose between those, you're gonna get more out of it.
Yeah. All right, let's jump into our last book. We talked about the wow, actually, what won the poll this week? I'm so out of it.
That was World's Finest.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yes. Okay. Thank you. So, make sure that you guys hit the poll up this week. We talked about World's Finest. It was nearly a unanimous poll, so that's always a good sign. But this week on the poll, I think we've got some, interesting books that are worth your time and consideration. We have Phoenix number 3, Batman: The Last Halloween number 1, Frankenstein number 2, and Amazing Spider-Man number 58.
Is this the last? This is the beginning of the last arc for Zeb Wells' Spider-Man run, I believe.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's all coming to an end.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, shit.
It's news
Yeah,
to
we're getting
Marco,
into
like we didn't talk about it on the main show when it was announced.
We're getting into the 8 deaths of Spider-Man.
Right.
It's that's coming up. So youtube.com/thecomics in order to cast your vote. And the winning book will be featured here on the show next week, just like World's Finest was. Brian says, I'll see what I can do as far as getting them in touch with you guys. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. That sucks. I hate to hear that because that's one LCS down, not due to sales, not due to, anything like that, just due to a fire. It's like, what the fuck? We can't afford to lose LCSs.
The world needs more comic shops.
Exactly. All right, let's get into our last book. That is going to be The Moon is Following Us. Another indie title. This one is by Daniel Warren Johnson, who is credited with writing and art. Riley Rossmo's credited with art. Mike Spicer did the colors, and Sean Lee did the letters. This is one of those times, and I don't even want to spoil it because I really want people to go and pick it up and read it. This is one of those times where, as a person who creates, you with all love and respect, you get mad.
Yeah.
You get mad. And that's why this is my pick of the week, more than anything. Because the idea behind this premise is something that I am angry that they got to it first. It's so smart. It's so good. It's something that I've been sitting on forever, and they got to it first. It is now cut off because it's too unique, and you can't do it. You can't do it. It's done. It's done. And not only did they do it, but they did it excellently. I'm not going to tell you what I'm talking about, but I will tell you the forward-facing premise of the book, which is that essentially two parents are trying to find and save their child, and they're on a strange world, apparently, with all sorts of creatures, and people have powers and everything like that, and they are on a wild journey to try to, find their child. And it very much gives I want to say like a fantasy vibe, but there's even some sci-fi maybe in the mix and some really bugged out characters. The fucking bat, who, I don't know if you guys have played Resident Evil, but the Resident Evil game where the guy's like, "What are you buying?
What are you selling?"
Yeah. Resident Evil 4, when he pulls his jacket open, he's got all that shit. The bat does that with its wings. I thought that was really cool and smart. Just a lot of. Go ahead.
You start thinking about inventory management when you saw that?
I didn't, but I was thinking about how funny, I was thinking about the funniness of that. There are a lot of really clever and cool and fun moments throughout the book, premise that we're not talking about notwithstanding. It was already good. I was already like, oh, I like this. This is cool. Riley Rossmo art. I like that. He's a great talent. Daniel Warren Johnson, really growing on me as a writer as well. So this is all going well. And then we get to the last couple pages or whatever, the stinger, and I'm like, motherfucker, damn it.
And knowing what one of your favorite movies of all time is, Sean, I was like, oh, Sean's gonna like this.
Absolutely, yes, yep.
I'm not gonna name that because this is my pick of the week too. Daniel Warren Johnson did it again, and what he does well, almost too well. It's like, come on, dude, stop it. You gotta chill. Is that he can manage to do some incredibly crazy world building that looks cool. There was a frog with a sniper rifle at one point, and he's got a little Burger King crown too. Like, that character exists, which is a very Dragon Quest side character sort of thing.
Yeah. He was actually my favorite character.
Oh, same, mine too. Yeah, put a frog in anything, I'm into it. But like, do that, and they're fighting. There's a Black Hawk Down situation going on here too.
Yeah.
And it's this weird fantasy mixed with sci-fi, all of that. But at the core, there's heart, and there's family, and there's just real human interactions. The dialogue between the dad and the mom in this feels real. I mean, we talked about it with Super Son. But like, they're not arguing, but there's a lot of subtext over what they're saying. You can tell they've had these discussions before, even though they're not saying it on the page. it's just it's when I went to school for writing, one of the things that my professors would tell me all the time is go to a coffee shop and just listen to people, and that's how you can kind of get what they sound like and get real human dialogue together. And I think this is what that feels like. It feels like I just closed my eyes and heard two parents talking to each other on the side. It is super human. And then you paired it with Riley Rossmo, who's been one of my favorites for a long time. Rosmo is not everyone's cup of tea. I get that. But this book is playing to his strengths. And I loved this issue. This is great.
The pairing I think is really interesting because I was trying to figure out what they're both the artist, right? So I'm trying to figure out to what degree is the work distributed, and I couldn't tell if it's backgrounds. I couldn't tell if it was faces. I know that Rosmo likes to use Ben-Day dots a lot, so I know that like the shading for some of those things was definitely him. But outside of that, I couldn't figure out like what this did. There's such a good pair for each other that I thought this came out excellently from an artistic standpoint.
The
Did
distinction.
you never put it together?
What do you mean?
What happens at the end of the book is Danny Warren Johnson. Everything
Yeah.
else at the beginning is Riley Rossmo.
Really?
Is that the distinction?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Feels pretty similar still.
they are
I'm not saying
complementary.
it's not similar, but
Okay, all right, yeah. I didn't notice if that's the case. Yeah.
wow.
I happen to know that Daniel Warren Johnson will be doing very, very, very little
Mm,
of the actual interior work, and I'm pretty confident that Tyler and Cale are right.
gotcha. Okay.
Still, though, this is, I want to almost even say like better Riley Rossmo than I'm used to, and I already like him. I'm a fan.
Yeah.
Is more under control. I feel like 'cause he can get wild. He can get real loose, but he's very tempered here.
Did you ever read his
What?
Constantine run? Or
Yeah.
was it Hellblazer? Yeah.
Yeah.
That is Riley Rossmo being the most Rosmo. This
Yeah.
feels more Riley. I don't know how that makes sense, but this is, even though it's frogs with snipers, there is a bit more groundedness to it. Yeah.
Well, and I would also say it's like he can probably let loose in design
Mm,
a bit more. That's why we have a bat that is a flasher.
a
A
merchant.
a frog with a sniper rifle and these crazy suits of armor, right? Like I think I think he probably gets to play a little more in design
Mm.
and probably in plot and environment more than just stuff he's done before.
Mr. Negative hit it on the head too. Spicer on colors makes the art mesh with Daniel Warren Johnson's a lot. And Mike Spicer, an unsung hero of the industry overall, but certainly what you're saying is correct. He is the bridge that gives their art style the crossover that makes this work so well and make it nearly indistinguishable between them. And I really love what he does on top of Riley's art.
Mm.
Spicer and Rossmo go together really well.
Also, mom kind of thick, bro.
Bro.
Yeah. 2 C's.
She's hurting. She's hurting right now. I get it. She's got
Pixar mom type shit, right?
That's Rosmo for you.
No joke about what she's packing. I see why she's a mom. Never mind.
She's all about action, right? That's her thing. Packing a lot of
Yo.
action.
Cale, you got something for this?
No, I wish I could jump in.
I'm good too.
I'm married, so
No, but in all seriousness, though, the character work is excellent. I immediately cared about the mom and the dad. I was a little bit nervous that they were going to kill the mother.
Yes.
I was like, that's not what I want to read. But thankfully they didn't.
but their conflict, like they very obviously have like deep issues with their mission at hand and like how they're operating within it. But then when the chips are down, like they're together. And then it's like, at the end, he picks her up and he's like, look, we gotta go get you better because I can't do this without you. And that to me is like, that's it. That's marriage. That's a couple.
Yes, dude. Abso-fucking-lutely. Yes, like let's get a fucking family book. Let's get a book where a mother and a father really like put their whole relationship on display, warts and all, but still at the end of the day, I need you to do this.
Yep.
I need you to do this. I can't do this without.
And
that's why we're together.
And there are some panels in this issue that are in the main like front half of the book that are drawn by Danny Warren Johnson, but they're picked sporadically, and they really accentuate beats when the parents are talking. They'll flash back to a picture of like a child's face, and it is just good. It's that pacing that comics really can only do, where it forces the reader to slow down. Yeah, it's shit. I mean, we lost him from Transformers. Oh, coming up at least. But man, Danny Warren Johnson as a writer, one of my favorites right now.
Coming to his own.
Beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like I said, pick of the week. Whenever there's a great indie book, it's always very awesome to be able to tell you guys, hey, go run out and get this. This may have been a lot of you under the radar for a lot of you. And that is why it's so great to be able to come on here and say, this is fantastic. If you've got an extra $3.99 or $4.99 or whatever this is, or there's a book on your stack that you're just like, you know what? I'm so tired of this book. I read this. It's at the bottom of my stack every week. Drop that garbage.
Excellent.
And buy this. Give it a chance. Try it out.
100%.
The worst thing you can say is those fucking comic pals, they steered me wrong. Damn Sean and them for steering me wrong. But I don't think you'll feel that way. I think you will be pleased with this, and I would definitely encourage you to make this a part of your comics buying trip the next time you make one.
Yeah.
Hard
100%.
Pick of the week.
Same.
Wait, Cale, I thought you said the other one was your pick of the week.
It was last week's pick of
Pick of
the
the
week.
week. Last week.
No, Power Fantasy.
I have 2 picks of the week.
I've seen
because listen, I'm clever.
Okay, whatever.
Go, you could make this a foursome.
Nah, bro. Not again.
Yeah, not again.
It ruined his marriage last time, remember?
Yeah, so Power Fantasy, I think, was
Triple talk about triple ho.
threat.
Triple ho
Whoa!
Triple ho says the moon gave me the same feeling I had after I read Saga #1. Great start.
There
That
it
is high praise.
Yes, indeed. Uncaged says, well, I'm off tomorrow. Gonna go get this. Hell yeah.
Please do.
You will not regret it.
Cole says, Brio, the smoking frog with the guns, is the new best character. I want to see that
Hell
on a
yeah.
fucking shirt.
Hell yeah.
Hey, Duncan, chill. I was like, whoa, yeah, this frog's right.
I like the little wizard man with his magic cape.
Yeah, he was cool.
Oh, yeah.
I like the bat and the mom. Yeah.
And this was pick a week for concept alone?
I mean,
Well, execution, but like that sort of took it over the edge for you guys.
for me, yeah.
It's just a good book.
Good book. Art, concept, execution. It's a good book.
For me, if it wasn't for the last 3 pages, it wouldn't have been pick of the week. But
Yeah,
when we got to that and that was the twist, I was like, oh shit.
got me.
Damn, this is good.
Yeah.
Nice little kick to the balls at the end of the book, right?
Yep. Skamikaze says just bought. There you go.
Get it.
Can somebody do me a favor and reach out to Image Comics and let them know that while we can't get Daniel Warren Johnson on this show to save our ass, we're selling his comics? Can somebody let them know that? Jesus Christ. Neighborhood Merc says, is this a cardstock cover?
I don't
It's the
think
wraparound
so.
open cover. So it's not one of the cardstock ones.
Ways of the Sith asks, any of you guys read Deadpool from this week? Interested to hear what you thought about the way they passed it over to his daughter. Nah.
Oh,
Nah,
that's
not reading
right.
Deadpool.
No.
I might read Deadpool Wolverine, but I'm not reading Deadpool.
Yeah, I want to read
That one I'm gonna read that. Yeah.
Cole, this is going to be a movie or show one day. The concept and creativity goes too hard.
I hope so, man.
I think if this came out 10 years ago, probably. I just think Hollywood is in a weird space where they're not greenlighting everything they possibly can these days. The love affair with comics feels like it's waning, but we'll see. I think this is a great concept. I think there's something here. Man, I'd love to see an animated live act, like an animated
All
and
right.
live action at the same time, you know?
Boy, you caught me just as I was about to say, but also, there's no need. We have the comic. And then you said that, and I said, well, hey, okay, I would like to see that.
Give it
So-
to me, please.
Hopefully more people make the choice to pick this up, because then that could happen.
Please. Tilo says if we read Jenny Sparks, we didn't. I have issue 2, but
Yeah, me too.
I haven't gotten to it yet.
I didn't read it.
No thanks.
Near says, unrelated, but Tyler, I know you collect Marvel Legends, but do you collect any Mafex figures? I got the Mafex symbiote Spider-Man.
Bro, if I had more money, I would.
Man, I'm dying for the Mafex Into the Spider-Verse Peter B. Parker.
You mean you?
That it's the only like Spider-Man action figure that I will allow in my house so far.
Is it
The-
like cloth material sweatpants?
I think so, but I don't want it for that. You know what really got me?
Go ahead. I don't remember it.
My man got a coffee cup. I said, listen,
Sold.
that's me. That's an action figure of me as Spider-Man right there.
Oh,
And
Aaron
Louise
Louise.
says, the Comics Pal sold me on Tom King's Wonder Woman. I am sorry, dude. I've been trying to rectify that error for months and months and months.
Aaron says it's not an error, dude. He's having fun.
Is that what he says?
That's not what he's saying.
I don't
Sure?
think so.
I feel like I see a smiley face there.
It's an upside down one. That means he's mad about it.
No, it looks like a smiley face to me.
Yeah.
So you guys might have noticed that I did not have a physical copy of The Moon is Following Us. And I'm going to explain why that is. But that also means it's time for the stack.
Ooh.
If you don't know what that is, Sean's Stack is a segment here. It's the way we like to close out Pals Pulls, where because I buy too many comics every week and I'm trying to get that number down, you guys help me by guessing the amount of books that I bought this week. And whoever is closest to that number without going over receives a digital code from me for any of the Marvel books that we did not read on the show this week, but I purchased. So you know the drill. Throw those numbers in the chat. I want to see them as I tell you guys about my LCS experience this week. You know, I went to the LCS and I had good energy, good vibes. I was very happy to be there. I was having a good day so far, and I'm like, all right, cool. This is going well today. But you know what happened?
Wow.
get to that store, and if it isn't that same damn person who's always holding the entire stack of comics in his grubby hands,
Grubby.
standing around right in front of the space where DC and Indie overlap,
Yeah, of course.
talking to a woman and
I doubt that.
mansplaining the fuck
Oh, okay.
out of the whole comics industry to her.
Oh no.
Well, you see, these things are made from paper, and paper is this.
I couldn't believe it. And this, by the way, for those of you who are deep into our lore and know this show, this is the same guy who said, "I'm not a violent guy."
Oh,
This is
yeah.
that same guy.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. So go ahead, Tyler.
We need to get him on the show.
No, we don't.
Please, no.
So he's like, "Oh yeah, like you got to go deep. You got to go to the 80s. Do you know who Alan Moore is? Do you know that name? Have you ever heard of Watchmen?" And she's like, "No, yeah, of course. I love, I love some of that stuff." And she's, talking, and she's like, he was the one that did the Dark Knight, right? And he's like, "No, that wasn't Alan Moore." And she's like, "Oh, sorry, I got mixed up." And I felt so bad for her and so cringed the fuck out that I just had to walk away. And I kept trying to like get myself in, like when you do that move where you're like, "Can I get in there? Can I squeeze in so I can grab this fucking comic book that I'm here to buy?" No, you're gonna fucking move, no. And I'm doing this whole thing while he's telling her ABC of the whole fucking comics industry. It was extremely grating. I was so annoyed for her sake. And she's trying her best, not to be rude or mean and keep up with his knowledge. But it's like, bro, you're 87 years old. This is a comic book shop. She's trying to buy her stuff. She's probably on break from work.
Word. Yeah.
I like to think that she said the wrong book on purpose just to fuck with him.
Hopefully.
Philosopher King says, "My God, the cringe." Exactly.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy is that none of this is fabricated. This is genuinely what happens every week. I go to my LCS. I have these fucked up experiences, and I don't understand why it keeps happening to me. So I didn't just miss The Moon is Following Us. That's not the only book I missed. I'm telling you now. Because these fuckers, it happened to me in the Marvel section too. Why are you standing there, bro? It's some other random assemblage of people. This is not a community space. Other comic book shops are. Mine is not.
It's a tourist
you
trap.
you do the wiggle around. You don't do the excuse me.
Well,
Did you not see the dance he was just doing? Yeah, that's exactly what he does.
yeah, I do the wiggle around because I really don't want to. I don't want to talk to anybody. I truly don't. I don't. To be really honest with you, I'm more likely to just move somebody out of my way, to just bump them out of my way, because I think you disrespected me first. Why are you standing here? Why do you have every issue of this comic in your hand?
That's the thing. You have got to people have to figure out personal space, but also how to get yourself the fuck out of the way. There's no reason for you to be in the way. This is you're in a gallery of things to be bought, and you're standing in the middle of it. Get the fuck out of the way.
For the love of God, can you move, please?
What are you, a fucking tourist? 4 people walking across the sidewalk? Hair up and walk behind each other. Get the fuck out of the way.
Cale, how does that New York energy work in England?
Hey, let me tell you. No, not great.
Yeah, I bet.
You ever try and tell your mother-in-law that?
No,
Doesn't work.
That's not a New York thing. That is a rookie mistake, I'm afraid.
Scott McCausey says, "What do you call a man mansplaining another man? A podcast." You're not wrong about that. You're
But
not
also,
wrong.
but also, how dare you come here and say that?
How dare you read us like that at 8 p.m. on
Come
a
on.
Thursday night here on Pals Pools?
I read comics, I swear.
Mike's Total Dragon says, "We got a dude like that at my LCS." Well, what do you do about that? And also, I see that you're a channel. What do you talk about on your channel? Plug yourself.
Dragons,
We're
bro.
chatting.
Yeah, dragons, dude.
That's pretty sick. Total Dragon channel. I want to know about dragons.
But on Mike's channel.
Dragon this. No, I won't.
Near says, "Hey, you ever heard of Image Comics? Dude, imagine that. Imagine
Image?
that."
Also, the choice to mansplain to a woman and pick Alan Moore as the go-to for the intro.
You gotta go back to the 80s, man. You don't even know.
It was the joy. It was the glee when she said Alan Moore as the answer to the Dark Knight, and he's like, "No, it wasn't Alan Moore that did that." And then he goes on this whole like tirade. I was like, "Bro, I'm turning my music the fuck up. I don't want to hear this."
Not Alan Moore, Frank Miller. And you know he did Daredevil. You know Daredevil. You don't know Daredevil? You got
Marco, that's exactly what it was. That's
Yeah.
literally what it was.
And then he recommended Holy Terror, didn't he?
Oh my god. Imagine. I wanted to unleash some fucking holy terror right there. Luna said, "Oh, I wish some dude would." See,
Yo.
but see, that's what it is, though. That's what it is. People get mad. You wouldn't even believe some of the comments we get on the stuff we've been doing with the New 52, and people are really mad that we called out DC for the lack of women and the reaction that they had to people calling out DC over the 1% of women that worked during the New 50 Dudes era. But when a woman look at Luna's reaction, you hear this story and you're like, "Yo, I don't want to deal with that."
Yeah.
Either
Yeah.
you're like Luna and you say, "I wish a motherfucker would," or you go, "I'm just not going to venture out." That's what happens. That's the bullshit. But I already told you I missed some books. You know I missed the Moon is following us. I see a lot of numbers in the chat. I'm going to pass it off to Cale.
All right. It's about time. That's what I say. We've got the numbers this week, and Dan Trudeau started us off hot, but in his standard fashion with a 16. Rami Darwish came in with a 12. Chad Cowder not getting the memo. He said 26. Uncaged says 17. James Jones, perennial winner, says 18. Luna came in with a hot 13. Near also said 13. Philosopher King says 18. Shane Stewart says 16. The Neighborhood Merc says 15. Cole says 11. Skamakazi says 9. Fredulation says 18. And Marowak says 12. Is that all? Triple O says 5. Triple O's already lost. No, he didn't.
No, he didn't.
Marowak Escuro said, "Do second printing still apply?" Yes. If I bought it, it counts for sure.
Right. For the respective week.
100%. Mike's Total Dragon channel says, our channel continues to talk about Johnny Depp and the Pirates of the Caribbean movies, and also David Tennant's Doctor Who. Okay, not what I thought. Not what I expected.
Huh.
Those Pirates movies still hold up, I gotta say.
You know what? David Tennant's Doctor Who does too.
Yeah.
I thought if it was media, I would have thought, Game of Thrones or something like that. Like, all right, fine. Dragons, Game of Thrones.
Well, there's one thing you could say about Johnny Depp and David Tennant. It's the one thing they have in common. They're the two dragons of the film industry.
I don't know how to take that. But notably, there are people who thought our name made the name of our channel made people think we were comedians.
That's right.
Yeah.
We're not comedians. We prove that every week. Cole says, "From Jay Nakamura to Juggernaut to Resident Evil Merchant to local comic book chud, this episode is killing it in impressions." Dude, we come here to tell the truth. hopefully make you laugh, talk comics. It's all, it's all in the expectations of a given week.
Not a comedian, but an impressionist.
They won't. We keep asking them to hire us for voice roles, but they won't do it yet.
Yeah, someone clip that stuff. I want to see Cale do that again. Get his little bangs going.
Dude, if it wasn't 8/11, I would share another story about a creepy interaction I saw at my LCS between a man and a woman, but I won't even get into that. We'll save that for another day. Instead, I'm going to talk to you guys about my stack this week. So even though we reviewed 6 books, I've got 5, the 5 that I bought from here. So we're starting at 5. Here's the fuckery.
Uh-oh.
Ultimate Spider-Man number 7.
Nice.
Oh, no.
Wait a second.
Sean, it has the black cover on it. That's the
I fucked up,
man.
That blank
the
stare, dude.
reprint.
That's just.
That's the most obvious reprint you've done so far.
You know what, Tyler? You're right, but there's something worse. It's not even on the fucking show.
Yeah.
Of course it's not out this week. Why would I think it was out this week? We're not reviewing it this week, and I'm the person who picks the books.
Yeah.
You really got to do that pull list, dude.
Never.
I need to get my head examined.
You need to go to a different shop. I'm
Speaking
sorry.
of which, I also
Thanks.
bought Jenny Sparks number 2 for some reason.
Hey,
As if I wasn't pissed off enough.
Let's go. Remember when you didn't like that book and said you weren't going to pick it up?
Yeah, and then remember when I just bought it anyway, like
Yes.
a fucking dope?
Do not read it, Sean. I feel like your blood pressure's high enough tonight already.
What else did I buy? I bought Avengers 18. Probably
Oh.
another mistake, but who knows?
Good
Yeah,
cover
'cause
to
guess
have.
goes by.
Yeah, why? Yeah.
No, I bought it because Storm is in it. I had to.
Oh, I did that. Actually, I did that the other day for Teen Titans because Swamp Thing was in it.
Oh.
Both of your Sims.
Well, hey, we follow characters.
Imps.
Sean's gonna pull out Saga 67 one more time.
No. Instead, I have the Incredible Hulk number 17.
Oh, gotta catch up.
I also have Powerpuff Girls number 3.
Oh, yeah.
There's a
Nice.
book to make.
Just
me happy.
added into multiverses too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, fun.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
You could do Powerpuff Girls versus Beetlejuice.
That's it.
Whoa, was the 10?
Whoa. That's 10.
That is it.
Holy shit.
You know what? Triple O, you didn't go over.
It could.
Oh, no.
I think it's Kamikaze.
Yeah,
I
Yep.
think it's Kamikaze.
it is. Yeah. Wow.
Holy cow.
I'm surprised.
With
was
what was his
9 with 9.
9?
Nine.
Sorry.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody has ever won Sean's stack with a number that low.
On a single digit. Wow.
And it's not because I was that uninterested this week, although this was kind of a little bit of a down week for my tastes. But I also missed books. Obviously, I dropped Ultimate X-Men. I told you guys that was going to happen, and it happened. I dropped X Factor. I didn't even really intend to do that. I was just not happy when I was at the LCS, and so I was just like, I'm getting out of here. Fuck this. The Batman Long Halloween, Last Halloween, I don't know what happened with that. I guess they're putting out their new Bat books on Saturday for Batman Day, but I didn't see that. And maybe that was in that space where my man was mansplaining comics to the woman. And maybe I just didn't see it, but I didn't get that.
It's also, well, that was also that issue that came out a couple years ago. It was a reprint of that issue.
Is it?
Yeah. Number 1 comes out soon.
Next week. No, it's on the poll.
It's out next week. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
is- wait.
yeah, okay.
Wait, so did we read that one already?
Yeah. Not
It's
number
wi-
1.
No, it's
The 0 issue or whatever.
Oh, okay.
we read
What
it
are
probably
comics?
a year, maybe 2 years ago. I was on the show
Yeah.
when it came out.
Yeah.
And apparently they re-released Batman Elmer Fudd special for some reason.
That was for Batman Day. Yeah.
It's a phenomenal comic book. My God. I also wasn't able to find a copy of Kaya, which I wasn't able to get last week, and now it's sold out. So I guess I'm just screwed on that. I'll have another empty space in my collection with that book. So I'm pretty upset about that. All in all, guys, for me, not a very good week. Not a very good week.
Yeah,
Barak
Barawak
Obscura, no one
Whoa.
bought Joker the World? No,
Nope.
thank you.
That was with the new Jeff Johns, Jason Fabok story in it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I'm okay. I'll just read Rook.
Yeah, Triple Ho. No Dazzler, Sean? I got that one. I want to read that one.
No, I got Dazzler.
I couldn't even care less. Rarely do I care what wins the poll, but this was one of those times I was like, please don't. Like, please.
Ultra Mega's back too, and me, I'm
dude.
pumped about that.
Wait.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
coming up.
Coming up, yeah.
No, it's out.
Is it this week? This week?
I think it came out this week. Yeah.
Oh,
Did
hell
it?
yeah. Okay.
I,
good book.
it's in the sorry chat. It's in the advanced reviews.
Oh, if it's in
Ooh.
advance, then it's not out this week.
We'll
No,
see.
no,
Yeah.
it came out a few weeks ago.
Okay.
I see. Okay.
Man, that's back. Snot Girl's coming back.
Oh, yeah.
We're here, baby.
Hell yeah. I'm excited for that. I thought Snot Girl had been back, and months ago I bought an issue of Snot Girl that, guess what, wasn't new.
Fool.
I've been collecting all my snot tissues to have like an effigy to burn, to hope that comes back, and it's finally worked.
That's vile.
Yeah, it doesn't smell good.
Skamikaze, if you want to, what books? Incredible Hulk, Avengers, and Ultimate Spider-Man #7. Those are your options. If you want one, send me a DM through our Discord server, through Twitter, or email at contact@thecomicspals. However you want to get at me, dog. What else? James Jones. Okay, the fools at Sean's shop have got to stop messing with Sean so I can win. Dude, do I need to walk around with a stick or a bat, or like what do I need to do? It's a lot. It's annoying. Cole says Tin Can Society. I wanted to buy that, but
Oh, that's a new reminder.
yeah, I don't know how I missed it. It's not even worth talking about. Look, guys, tune in Saturday, all right? Because Saturday is going to be a great day. Saturday, we have the new 52 Deep Dive Part 3. I am very excited about this. I think that this will be the most complete episode. This will be the most exciting one we've done yet. I am very pleased with what I have on tap for you guys with that. And then there's other stuff happening in the comics industry, if you can believe that we'll talk about on Saturday as well. It's going to be a great time. You guys saying pull list in the chat, you're right. I am wrong. You are right. But guess what? I'm not going to start one. I'm just not. I'm sorry.
You're snot?
I'm not.
Oh, sorry.
Saturday, 10:15 a.m. We'll see you guys there. Until then, take care, guys.
See you next